I don't watch Love Island USA usually, but what prompted me to tune in to it this year was the sheer amount of people talking about the particular Black women on the show. I think it's important to fully understand the power and the currency that you have and is in, but also as a collective. And Love Island USA was a demonstration of this, with the likes of Alandria and Shelley being some of the most talked about, or if not the most talked about islanders during the show and also after the show. And Alandria and Shelley, two beautiful dark-skinned women, came into the island and were the talk of the town until this day. And mind you, it's been months since the show finished. And I've seen so many think pieces about both of these two beautiful women and the men that they're partnered with. Looking at the commentary, a lot of people, were praising both of these women, but I saw a lot of bashing towards Alandria's looks and also disrespect and passive aggressiveness towards both Shelley and Alandria, faced by the non-Black women on the show like Huda, but also I've seen quite a bit of the fandoms trying to pit the girls against each other, and you can tell, and from all these instances, you can tell that the social currency for both of these women are very high, to the point that some Black people and also other non-Black people are trying to turn Shelley into the token Black girl, and I say this in quotation marks because of her supposed looks, pushing the idea that if a dark-skinned woman is garnering so much positive attention, especially towards her looks, it's because of her supposed proximity to ambiguous beauty, which is harmful, and also trying to create some sort of a hierarchy by comparing the features of both of these women by saying one is more Afrocentric in quotation marks, whereas one is less Afrocentric. But nonetheless, I'm glad that Shelley hasn't fallen for that, and neither has Alandria from the looks of it. It's clear a lot of people did have a visceral reaction to seeing two gorgeous Black women being doted on and having an actual Love Island experience that isn't filled with complete struggle and tears. And even with the women having the ideal Love Island experience, and I say ideal in quotation marks, some people make it seem as if like there shouldn't be any complaints in how both of the women were treated, when in actuality you can do both. You can celebrate the successes of both women and yet still speak about the treatment, the mistreatment they experienced from other Love Islanders and the public. And I've said this before in other videos, and when I speak about the mistreatment towards dark-skinned women specifically, and some people claim it's so self-centered and arrogant to think that these issues are exclusive to a particular group, which I never say that. I always say that usually these specific instances can happen and do happen in other groups. But I don't really care when people claim that we're being self-centered and arrogant when we speak about issues that pertain to us. And the reason being is because no one says anything when these things actually happen to us, to dark-skinned women. Yet when we actually do talk about these issues and situations, we're met with hostility for advocating for ourselves, whilst no one else is advocating for ourselves. And if there are instances where we do ask for solidarity from other groups of people, we're met with, why don't you just love yourself? Why don't you just build up your self-esteem, right? So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So either way, just continue to advocate for yourself. One of the main reasons that I found as to why people dismiss the advocacy of these situations and experiences is because many have to be forced to look inwards and actually reflect on their actions to determine whether they contributed to these negative experiences. And that is quite an uncomfortable thing to do for someone, because now that there's an external measure that will actually hold them accountable for their actions, they know that they can't actually get away with the stuff that they usually would have gotten away with saying and doing. They know that they will be called out on their BS, unlike back in 2010 and 2015. That period, the 2010s period, was a time where people would say the most vile crap about any group and every group, especially with dark-skinned women, So many people got away saying so many horrible things. And later down the line, we saw that a lot of these people who also have dark skinned women audience ended up being exposed for their colorist views. And whilst I'm speaking about colorism, colorism is a prime example of what I'm talking about here in regards to currency. When these colorism topics and conversations started in the early 2010s, remember when so many people were being completely dismissive of colorism, and some even blatantly claimed that it didn't exist. And many people were being patronizing towards dark skinned women, saying, why are you complaining? Right? Why are you complaining? Why don't you just do something about it? You're not part of the beauty standard. That's just normal. That happens to everyone. Just basically shut up and get on with it. Right? And now we see the fruits of the labor of the people who talked about colorism, like the likes of Chrissy and other content creators. And now a lot more people are more vocal and they're able to see and detect when colorism is at play, to the point that even other communities, non-Black communities, have even spoken out about colorism recently. And they usually don't, because when you think about it, a lot of the colorism conversations usually have Black women centered within them. And other groups, whilst they do have a lot of colorism issues, and colorism is very prevalent in their communities, a lot of them were not talking about these issues back then. Only after Black women started a conversation, that's when other groups gained the confidence to speak about these issues, right? That in itself is currency. The currency that Black women have in regards to social issues and just in general, starting conversations, especially uncomfortable conversations, the currency is very high, right? So this video is a reminder to know that you carry social currency wherever you go. And as a collective of dark-skinned women, our social currency is heightened in certain spaces. Whether it's praise or mistreatment, we're making people money. People literally make money off us, right? So it's best to know what we should and shouldn't entertain. Similar to how Shelley and Olandria are both using their social currency to improve their social status and also financial status as well, and giving attention to things that elevate them through their social media, getting brand deals, interviewing with these big corporations and companies, which will only elevate them and benefit them. This is exactly what we should be doing with our social currency, rather than entertaining low vibrational situations and people. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section about this topic, and I'll see you in the next one.